Welcome back to the Morning Brief on Channels Television. And of course, we'll begin, and very rightly so, with the strike called by the Academic Staff Union of Universities just yesterday. ASUU did threaten a warning strike after its ultimatum expired on Sunday. And last week, we had a conversation with the president of ASUU, Professor Chris Piwuna, who did explain, some of the issues, some of the gray areas, and, their reservations about the federal government's approach to handling ASUU's demands. Now let's hear from the federal government, and the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, joins us on the program now virtually. Dr. Alausa, thank you for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you, Bukola. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. And so, in the last 48 hours, we have been hoping that we'll be reporting progress this morning. Unfortunately, this is not so. Give us an understanding of the engagements that had gone on with ASUU in the last 48 hours and why this strike still had to go on.
Yeah, thank you. This strike should not have gone on at all. Let me reassure our students nationwide that the federal government of Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will do everything humanly possible to keep you in school. And let me also reassure our parents, the parents of our students, that we're doing everything humanly possible to keep your children in school. This is the responsibility of this government. And today, I'm going to use this medium to plead with ASUU again to shelve this strike. There's literally no need for this strike. In the last 2 years plus, there has never been ASUU strike. This is not a coincidence, but active, proactive engagement by the government. And we have continued to engage ASUU. Over the last 24 hours, myself and the Vice Chairman of Federal Government Federal Government Tertiary Negotiation Committee were working the phone, talking to ASUU. I can tell you today, literally all the demands of ASUU have been met. So I do not see any reason why ASUU has gone on this strike. We had feelers that despite us negotiating with them in good faith, truthfully, they were determined to go on the strike. Even from Friday, I've been getting text messages that ASUU has decided to go on strike. And when you do that, when you predetermine your action, despite every goodwill or gesture of the government to you, what do you really want? Let me tell you what we've done in the last 2.5 years plus. And where we are today, we've literally addressed every single issue that ASUU is requesting. The areas of their end academic allowance, we've paid 50 billion naira. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu swiftly approved that payment months ago. Why they had end academic areas was that they didn't want this salary, the areas mainstream as part of their salary, which was the best way. But they now came back and we talked to them. The end academic allowance has now been mainstream as part of as their salaries. There will never be arrears again. We've also addressed issues about their postgraduate supervision allowances, which are to be paid by the institutions. And I've been told that these are being paid. There are issues on the needs assessment money, which was not released. If you remember, this needs assessment was negotiated by them almost 20 years ago. But this government met those liabilities. The president approved 150 billion naira of needs assessment money in this 2026 budget. 50 billion naira of that has been released. The president promised us he will release this in tranches of 50 billion over 3 payments. The first one has been released. It's sitting in the needs assessment account now. For us not to disburse that money, It's ASUU that is holding those disbursements. The promotion areas, we told them this will be paid with the 2026 budget. This will be appropriated as part of the 2026 appropriation budget. But what was causing the arrears? We've resolved that. We've had meetings with the budget office, or from this year, 2026, that's when most universities do their promotions. They would be allowed to accrue those last 3 months, October, November, December, with 2026 budget going forward. With the 225-35 wage award, I've had multiple meetings with them and told them that all public servants have not been paid this, but this will be paid in 2026. Those were the low-hanging requests, which we've taken care completely. Now the big ones are about their condition of service and their welfare. We've responded, myself, Labour Minister, and the Honourable Minister of State for Education co-chair a high-level government technical working group, which also included the following members: Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, Minister of Labour, Minister of Justice, and the Chairman of Salary and Wages Commission, DG Budget Office, Office of the Accountant General, and Executive Secretary. We went line by line on all their requests based on their condition of service. We finalized those review and government counter response to what they had requested. We presented that to them this past Friday. And also the big part, the second component of this, their welfare. We've gotten approval from Mr. President to create another line item called Teachers' Welfare to address the Academic Staff Union, a welfare package, the ASUU, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, and the College of Education Academic Staff Union. And also, we will cascade that to all teachers in the country as we move along. We got approval to have teachers' allowance. And Mr. President graciously approved robust percentage of their salaries. We modeled that out. We presented all this to them at the meeting on Friday. The Yahya Ahmed federal government negotiating team met with us on Friday. We gave them everything they had requested, their welfare and the condition of service. They promised us that they will get back to us in 24 hours. We waited until Saturday afternoon. They didn't get back to us. Myself and the chairman and the vice chairman of the negotiating committee continued to reach out to us via the president. They didn't call us back. The vice chairman, Senator Joshua, was texting and calling. And on Sunday evening at just before 5 p.m., the ASUU president texted the vice chairman, Senator Joshua, back that I'll call you. He called just after 5. He released a statement that they will go on strike. The senator told him that, listen, we will meet with you on this Sunday. Let us meet. There's no need to go on strike. Your proposals have all been responded to. Give us your counter proposal. We can't continue to just do it back and forth. And the response of Vice President was, all the people, the leadership that are here, they've been in Abuja for 5 days, they have to go home to their family. 5 days? They can't wait to meet us. Government is doing everything here to meet your needs. Today, we have a president in the presence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that believes so much in education as a bedrock of our society, and is giving us all the support. And we have the highest political will today to resolve these issues once and for all.
But Dr. Alausa,
remember, these are issues. Give me one more second. Remember, these are issues that dated back to 2009. We've addressed every single request by ASUU. There's no need for this strike. And we're pleading with them to go back to school. We need to keep our children. in school. This government is doing, we've met everything. If there's any group of people that have met with the most since I assumed this position, it is ASUU. I call them, they have my number, and honestly, the government has done its bit. I want to continue what we've done in terms of education funding.
Right.
But if you want me to
we'll get to that.
I'll hold off for a minute and get back to you, Karen.
Definitely. We'll get to that. But I just want to also present their own side of the story. You may have seen that conversation we had with the ASUU president, Professor Piwuna, just last week in the build-up to this. And I want to reiterate some of the things they said so you can also speak to them. So we have a balanced conversation here. So he said they had a meeting in Sokoto and gave 3 weeks, but that the government did not do anything all through that period. It was when it elapsed that then we began to hear things from government on the one hand. So for him, he said the government has been too slow. In fact, he said that there was no decency of saying, gentlemen, please hold on with us for that 3-week period, according to him. That's on the one hand. Now, he says that the earned academic allowance that was paid, that they actually had to make a compromise. So it's not like they are the ones who are belligerent in some sense. That it was meant to be 103 billion, but that they said, you know what, we'll give some sort of understanding to government. Let's do the 50 billion. And for him, he said that was a lot of compromise. Even more than half was what they had to give in order to get the 50 billion earned academic allowances. He also talked about the 150 billion of revitalization, which was agreed for 3 tranches. He says 50 billion has been received, but the money has not reached the universities, according to him. So I want you to speak to us as to why there's that slow movement from government. You said they had to wait 5 days. Some people will say 5 days is enough to actually resolve this. So why has there been that sort of slow movement from government in responding to their own side of the yearnings?
Thank you, Kalde, for this balanced part of what he said. With all due respect to the president of ASUU, what he said about the 3 weeks and government not responding, it's not true. Because of my dialogue back and forth with him, they gave us 3 weeks, and I told him about the time they were giving us 2 weeks. I told him, Alhaji Yayale Ahmed, a very renowned Nigerian with deep institutional memory, knowledge of the public service, agreed to chair this negotiation committee. That he had requested that he was going for lesser Hajj. Alhaji Yayale called him. I asked him, I told Yayale to call him that he was going on lesser Hajj. He knew. Alhaji Yayale was in lesser Hajj for 2.5 weeks, and he had some family things to deal with in Egypt. I was communicating with ASUU president. He knew that. I said, let us wait for Alhaji Yayale Ahmed to come back. He's been the one talking to you. He knows all your needs. He's so committed to ASUU. Wait for him to come back. And the ministry responded to ASUU president. I can release that letter today, signed by PAMSEC, sent to ASUU, and the copy was tested to ASUU president via the WhatsApp. That please, Alhaji Yayale, please, these 3 weeks, begin with whatever one you want to do from the 6th of October. Like I said, I will be back on the 5th of October. And by Monday, we met. I inaugurated the expanded committee, the negotiation committee, because what we had on the ground was we had one committee for universities, one committee for polytechnics, and one committee for college of education. And we felt that this doesn't give each committee enough breadth. We wanted one expansive committee to handle all academic unions of all tertiary institutions and the non-academic union. That committee was inaugurated on Monday, the 6th. They moved swiftly on Tuesday to have their inaugural meeting, and they were communicating this to all unions, including ASUU. We now schedule a meeting for Friday to meet with ASUU to give them all the counter proposal to the condition of service and their wage request, which happened on Friday. So and remember, these are issues that have dated on since 2009, We have addressed most of these issues on an ongoing manner. So there was never a time that we were delaying ASUU at all. I told them that this government would negotiate with all truthfulness with you, and that's what we've done. With the end academic allowances, they said they were the one that said it might have been more than 50 billion. They came back and said, okay, we will settle for 50 billion. We swiftly paid that. We paid that well over 7 months ago with the needs assessment. The president, this was inherited by this president. The president budgeted 150 billion in this budget and said, I'll release it in 3 tranches. The first tranche has been released. I met with ASUU that the first tranche has been released, but then there was a little bit nomenclature change. And I'll talk to Nigerian people now on what happened behind the scene on the 50 billion that was released. It is ASUU themselves that have delayed the release of this money to their various bank account. That money has been sitting in the needs assessment account for almost 6 weeks now. In the 2023 appropriation bill, it was 300 billion. The line item was 300 billion tertiary institutional needs assessment. Unfortunately, when that was going to transcribe to the 2025 appropriation bill, it said 150 billion federal government ASUU needs assessment. We knew there were some issues here. So I called ASUU president, I called ASUU, Association of University of Polytechnic president, and the Quincy president, and said, this needs assessment has been paid to all tertiary institutions, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. Now, we have a nomenclature error on the 2025 appropriation bill. Let's work and see how we can get these funds across. ASUU, Association of University of Polytechnic president, said, ASUU is a big brother, it's okay. We've always had 2-1-1 with a 2-1-1 split. We agreed to 2-1-1 split. The COESU, College of Education at Academic Staff Union, also said they agree with 2-1-1 split. At that meeting, ASUU told us that they can't give us any response, that they will come back to us in a few days. They did not come back to us. I personally called the president of ASUU myself. Please, let us be reasonable here. The next time we got their letter, they said, no, they are the only one that will take the 50 billion, that they will not allow for it to be shared to the Polytechnic and the College of Education. That's where we are on that. That's what is delayed the release of the money. As Minister of Education, I have to be fair to all tertiary institutions. That's my own role. And that's where we are. Now, all the 3 things you've listed, the 3 weeks, we didn't delay, they didn't give us any, we responded to and I can release that letter today. I've promised ASUU and I've promised nations, I've promised our students that this government will deal truthfully with all unions, ASUU inclusive. And that's what we've done. We have a president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that really, when he makes his promises, he fulfills his promises. And that's what he's directed us to do. He's giving us full mandate that our children must be in school. And that's what we're working to make happen. And I'm pleading with ASUU. The government, here we're pleading, let's go back. You have a counter proposal. Please respond to it. There's no need to go on strike. Well, there's no need to go on strike.
Honorable Minister, Dr. Alausa,
yes.
Professor Piwuna did commend the Ministry of Education under your watch for its difference in approach to negotiations, for operating an amiable and open door policy, unlike the experience that ASUU had with other ministry superintendents in the past. But what now seems to be a gray area is those items that ASUU is demanding and when it will be paid and all of that. thank you for the clarification that you have brought. But one of the things that he also said was how difficult, according to your own report to them, about getting funds released, perhaps from the Ministry of Finance, that if it is that difficult to get funds released to a sector as critical as education, then the federal government's commitment to education is in doubt. That's what he told us. That's on the one hand. Please explain that to us, sir, because there is a significant increase in the budgetary allocation to education in the 2025 budget. How much of the delay in the implementation of the 2025 budget is affecting this negotiation with ASUU? I'd like you to clarify that for us.
Thank you, Bukola. This President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, prioritizes education. Everything we've asked him is done. So I don't know what Professor Piwuna is saying about delay in releases. I can tell you today, in 2025, we have 683 billion naira budgeted as direct intervention to universities, which we decided that they will be spent on 5 things: to rehabilitate student hostels, rehabilitate lecture theaters, lecture auditoriums, laboratories, and engineering workshops, and all faculty offices. The beneficiary universities have started releasing those money. The delay we're seeing in projects being started, it's actually mostly due to the universities. In fact, if you saw that just a few days ago, last Thursday, I met with all heads of institutions to really talk to them about what's causing delay in you assessing all your AIPs using these funds. The government has released this fund. Today, we have 670 billion naira of unused fund sitting in all university tertiary institutions' accounts from between 1994 to 2024, sitting there. So government is making its promises to them. Government is making all its promises to them, and we've released 683 billion for this expansive infrastructure upgrade in our tertiary institutions for this 2025 academic session. The beneficiary institutions should move swiftly to access this fund. Also, we're rehabilitating 18 medical schools all across the 6 geopolitical zones with 70 billion in direct intervention to these schools to expand our capacity to admit more students to medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, and nursing. We're also building seven new simulation labs, the first time ever in this country. 40 billion has been appropriated for that. We're energizing our tertiary institutions. There's a 1.1 trillion naira rural electrical agency World Bank funding, of which significant amount of money has been dedicated to our energizing education program. We've built over 24 mini-grids all across our tertiary institutions. Our plan is our plans in the next 2 years is for every single federal tertiary institution to have independent mini-grid. We've also released we've also released another significant amount of money for academic staff training. Over the past few years, over 5,000 foreign PhD sponsorship, about 322 local PhD sponsorships, about 4,000 foreign master sponsorships, about 157 foreign master scholarship as well, and we've trained over 28,000 teachers, people who are lecturing in teaching practices. When it now comes to NET Fund, we have over 580,000 students that have benefited from NET Fund. 107 billion disbursed in total, 46 billion naira disbursed for student upkeep, and 61 billion for institution. This is additional money going to our tertiary institution.
Well, Dr. Alausa,
61 billion to support them.
While it's good to paint the bigger picture of what the government is doing in terms of education, there is a present challenge that needs to be fixed, an emergency situation, if you will. And as a doctor, you understand that when there's an emergency bleeding, for example, the goal is to stop that bleeding. Even if the whole body is healthy, you need to stop the bleeding so it doesn't affect the whole body, all the work that you're doing. And I just want to list a few other things that he said last conversation we had. He talked about promotion arrears, third-party deductions, remittance to union for cooperative, 25 to 35% salary increase for 12 months that hasn't been paid, 3.5 months withheld salary of the last action, which they have done the work according to him. And now the government has said no work, no pay. There is a fear or concern that this now makes a bad situation worse. How is the government going to stop this bleeding? Because one day that Nigerian students are out of school is equal to, in the future, years of waste, because you don't know what this can do rather to the future of these students who are, by the way, competing with a global village that are way ahead in terms of technology, innovation, and the rest. So how are you planning to stop this bleeding as of this moment?
One day that any Nigerian child is out of school, it's one day too long. This is not acceptable to us. It's not acceptable to the president. And we will do everything humanly possible to let not that happen. And we have met ASUU. We have met all their requests. Now, you listed some of these things that they've talked about. I'll address those again. But let me go back to where we started from. Every single request that they brought to us, we have met. The outstanding two big things about their welfare and the condition of service, we've given our counter proposal to them. They have it. They have it since Friday. There's no reason to go on strike. Let them come back to us on that. So, government is doing everything to keep our children in school. ASUU, please, let us keep our children in school. It is not on us. It is government. It is not government trying to show any intransigence here. We've met everything single thing you've requested. We have addressed them. Now, with the third-party deduction, that conversation have happened. That has been restored. Those have been restored. Why is there an issue again? Remittance to union is been restored. And those are issues at universities level. They are not federal government issues. But we stepped in, we worked with the university, Those have been resolved. Kayode, please, I'm pleading with you as well. Do your own investigative journalism. Go to journalism. Go to this institution and ask them. With the 3.5 months unpaid salary, I'd met with them. When they went on strike for 8 months or so, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was then candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu had the chief of staff, who was the speaker of the house, to meet with ASUU then. That they should call off that 8-month strike. They met and they agreed that they will pay. It was agreed. The chief of staff, the current chief of staff today, led the government delegation. They agreed with ASUU that they will pay 50% of that of the months that they didn't work. Immediately, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over. He paid 4.5 months, about 50% of that, and he said he only promised 50%, half of that, and he's paid. We went to the president as well to represent the case. The president said, I promised them half of those months, and I've paid. That the 3.5 months will not be paid. I've had conversation with ASUU and told them that we had met with the president. The president was very clear on his promise that this is what I will do. That this 3.5 months, the president said he will not pay it because he did not promise to pay full months. Unfortunately, today, even I had we didn't have a paper agreement signed, but if we're talking about gentleman agreement, respectful agreement, truthful agreement, ASUU should own up. The leaders of ASUU that negotiated with the government team then are still alive. They shouldn't turn around now and ask for this 3.5 months. And we've been very clear with them that we will not pay this 3.5 months. It was not part of the agreement. President promised 50%. We've met those obligations. And if they keep and I told them, take this out of your laundry list of requests. I've had meeting multiple times with ASUU that this is the position of government. And it's not only applicable to ASUU alone. All trade unions that participated in that several months long strike. President paid 50%, and he said, this is what I promised. And President is a man that fulfills his promises. He's a man of his words. So this 3.5 months is not even part of our negotiation with them. And I've told them that. But the third party deduction, remittance to the union, those are already happening. So please, I need you to go fact check me.
All right.
It's happening. So every single thing you've said, as a part of the story now, I've clearly explained to you how we've met every single thing. So please, we also need your government to help us plead with ASUU to return to the classrooms.
All right, Dr. Alausa.
We need to keep our kids in school.
Dr. Alausa, you've clarified two items out of 4 mentioned by my colleague: third-party deductions, 3.5 months on paid salaries. But how soon, or as the government also sorted out 25 to 35% increase and promotion arrears? And did the government, after our interview with the ASUU president, did the Ministry of Education reach out over the weekend to ASUU to negotiate those two issues?
We reached out. We met federal government tertiary institution negotiation team, met with them for several hours on Friday. Senator Tunji Alausa, who was deputizing for Alhaji Ali Ahmed, was in constant communication with ASUU president all through Saturday and Sunday. I was also working the phone with Senator Alausa, checking with him. He reached out multiple times with calls and tests. He did not get any response back. We are doing everything to avert any strike. We reached out to them multiple times on Saturday and Sunday. No response back. We did not get any response back. Then the ASUU president now tested 5 minutes before 5 p.m., about a few minutes before 5 p.m. on Sunday evening, that it will get back to Senator Tunji Alausa. By the time he got back to Senator Tunji Alausa, they released a statement that they were going on strike. And the senator said, let me connect the minister with you. He said, no, please don't connect the minister. Please, let us meet and talk. I said, I will meet you on Sunday. He said, no, our leadership had gone home. So we were reaching out continuously to them. Government, trust me, this government will have a responsible government being led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Human capital is a big deal to us. It's a big deal to us. And let me now address what you said about the 25-35 wage award increase. Unfortunately, there was no provision in 2025 to pay these arrears. In the 2025 budget to pay these arrears for all public servants. And I told ASUU that there was no provision. We've met with the budget office. This will be provided in 2026. You will get all your arrears. The promotion arrears are the same thing. You know what was causing the promotion arrears? While we had these promotion arrears accumulated, previous government would not let the university accrue from October. They usually make their promotion October every year. So rather than get them accrue for October, November, December of the previous year in the subsequent year budget, it was stopped. And that's why we had these accumulated arrears. But once this was brought up to us, we met with the DG budget, with the budget office, and said, from this 2025, all promotions done by universities in October or any point in this 2025 will be accrued in 2026 budget. We've communicated that to all vice chancellors to accrue that. So we've solved that fundamental problem. This government is so responsive to whatever problems that are academic and non-academic unions bring up to us. We solved that. And now, we now said the promotion arrears, because we didn't budget for it in 2025, we will pay all promotion arrears in 2026. Those will be budgeted for. Everybody understands appropriation. If you don't, it's a act of law. It had to be approved by the National Assembly. We're a law-abiding government. We're a law-abiding country. So I explained to them, it will be paid. So please, Kayode and Bukola, you brought all these issues that ASUU said were issues, and I've clearly explained to you how we've addressed every single issue. So please, help us plead. I'm pleading with ASUU again. Please go back to the classroom. Call up this strike. We have a counter proposal to you. Respond back to us. Please, I'm pleading with you, ASUU members. I've had a very good working relationship with you. I've dealt with you with all truthfulness, with all respect.
All right.
And all the things you brought over to me as Minister of Education, we've addressed them swiftly.
All right. On a last...
At this point, I do not know why ASUU is on strike. So students, please help us ask ASUU what they really want.
Well, Honorable Minister, I think they have listed
ASUU what they really want.
I think they have listed their demands.
Please help us ask ASUU what they really want.
Right, Honorable Minister, I think they have listed those issues, and we've presented most of them to you. Just on a final note, we have about a minute. What is the government's counter offer? Give us a peek into what you offered ASUU on Friday, which, by the way, a lot of people think was really late because they gave ample time. So the last working day before their strike was when they now got an offer. So in less than a minute, Minister, what was in that offer?
There's nothing really late. Remember, these were issues from 2019. We told them Alhaji Ali Ahmed, the chairman of the committee, was out of town. He went to Lesser Hajj. What would we do? Should we stop him from going to watching Service God? 2 weeks of what issues that happened that you've been negotiating back and forth 2009. You have it because this president, this government has done everything. ASUU should really meet our magnanimity. Please, I need you to be fair here. What is late here? We told them 2 weeks. Wait for Alhaji Ali Ahmed to back from Lesser Hajj. These were issues from 2019 that were not addressed by previous government, because this government chose to meet all its obligations to the citizens, which will continue to do. They should not abuse a gesture. They should respect us. We're dealing with them with all mutual respect. And to answer your question about the welfare, about the package, the counter proposal, I can assure you it's extremely robust and very comprehensive. I will not disclose that on television at this time. They have it. Check with them, they have it. But I can assure you, the welfare package that we propose to them, extremely robust and very comprehensive. We've done this to keep them in school. We understand that our academic and non-academic staff need better welfare. We will not solve it in one day, but we started very, very well.
All right. Dr. Alausa, we want to thank you for taking out time to provide these explanations to us. And we hope that those outstanding areas that you did mention, promotion, 25 to 35% increase, can be accommodated in a supplementary budget for 2025. Because we recall in 2023, the executive did present a 2.1 trillion naira supplementary budget, out of which 6.9 billion naira was released for the budgeted for the purchase of vehicles for the State House, Office of the President, and indeed National Assembly members, which drew condemnation from the Nigerian public. But we hope that for a sector as critical as education, for the welfare of our public school teachers, a supplementary budget can be released as well. And we hope that your office can pursue that. We must thank you very much, Dr. Tunji Alausa, for joining us on the program. Dr. Alausa is the Minister of Education. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll address another issue of concern, which is the presidential pardon granted posthumously to some Nigerians and, of course, to other convicts. Stay with us for this one. We'll be right back.